Thy kind are all of a piece.
And number 1, even though it's been almost a whole year since this one's been out on all platforms, of course, we've got over here Elden Ring, just simply the biggest game of the year in scale, detail, story, lore, and most importantly just gameplay. I mean, no wonder why every single website except just a couple giving it all a 10 out of 10. If you do like the idea of a very challenging open world fantasy history action RPG, well, Elden Ring over here is about as further as they go.
I pray that the guidance of grace abandons you.
Why accept the burden of their grace, or be fooled by the dogmatic ramblings of the fingers? Rise with us, against the Erd Tree.
Never met someone with a taste for brawn I couldn't trust. We'd make good mates, I reckon.
I bid thee, travel the path of the Lord. And once all is done, we shall see each other once more.
Coming up behind that, we have Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin, a game that will first off mainly brings back the classic stuff, especially the characters of the series, in a very decent way. Somehow it even manages to be a very good entry for newcomers alike. This is a well-made, well-deserved for the attention it's got entry of the Final Fantasy series, and one of the most fun hack and slash, technically action RPGs of the year in every damn department. Exactly what you'd expect or imagine from a co-developed game by Team Ninja and Square Enix.
You've got some shine in you.
Valkyrie, heed my words. Ragnarok tears our world asunder.
And number 3, well, it's the not so lately released Valkyrie Elysium, a narrative-based, story-focused action RPG, if not the best, well, one of the most solid entries of the series' lifetime. And in my opinion, well, something that could be summed up to only a small group of gamers out there in the sheer amount of RPGs or just genres out there on the market, because it's just mainly pure nostalgia, but frankly, it's a very good entry for both newcomers and veterans, of course. If you like Square Enix stuff, this is exactly what they're best at.
Power, are you not? Divine Assault! Nibalag
I told you, you can't live on that side anymore.
Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, however, is probably the best example of a remastered game just done right. See, to know what's truly going on in Final Fantasy's world, you actually do have to play this one too, as it just sets all the pieces of the puzzle and story that you've been missing. See, Square Enix has done a phenomenal job with this one, as it's the type of game you can be totally new to the series and still be left amazed at just what hit you. Graphically though, or just gameplay wise, don't even get me started. Ghostwire Tokyo, on the other hand, is specifically for those of you who don't want to get lost in track, with just bits of detail around every corner. First off, let me just say that Ghostwire Tokyo is just about the most innovative first-person action game, to some extent open world game that came out in 2022, but at the same time you just really want to focus on story, otherwise you kind of lose track of the pace of the game and it becomes, in some cases, boring. The game is smooth, it's got a divine story, and in visuals it does deliver in a very innovative way. If the idea of an open world Pokemon game does thrill you, and you have, well, let's say formerly played a few not so smooth, I mean, not the most enjoying open world games like the ones that you wished were just a little less frustrating gameplay, Scarlet and Violet is, well, simply the #1 recommendation I would give you. This game has such amazing characters, environments, and monsters. At times, I got so excited I just wanted to call people and tell them how good it is. The game is huge in scale, got an ocean amount of content with just about little to noticeable bugs. But that is it.
I've been informed that the rebels are marching on the palace.
At #7, we've got Steel Rising. Now, if I had to say so myself, this is the second best Souls-like action RPG that came out this year. Remember those big wheel with thorns in front of them kind of bosses in Elden Ring? Well, in Steel Rising, you mainly get to fight enemies like that, basically androids. And it is more like a Naya, Naya, I don't know who calls that, sort of game as opposed to Elden Ring. The game is no way close to Elden Ring though in scale, but what it lacks in size, it actually makes up for in action. Additionally though, I would say it's got a great setting.
Evil is all around you!
Come on, let's kill these idiots!
If you're a Borderlands series fan, or have been just waiting for the right moment to invest a good amount of time and wondering if it's just too late to start now, the Borderlands games, well, Tiny Tina's Wonderland is one of the best options for you right now on the table. It's just an amazing fantasy take on Borderlands looter-shooter formula with procedurally generated combats and enemies, loots, with so much content you probably won't remember when you started first once you get going on in this one. Getting into the campaign, loads of RPG elements, and it's addicting as hell. At #9, it's, of course, Rune Factory 5. See, for years before release, this was a game that was on top of a lot of most anticipated Switch lists. But Unfortunately, upon release, it didn't turn out to be just a rather mediocre sequel. Here's the thing, if you do enjoy some good old-fashioned farming, chill experience along with some RPG goodness, Rune Factory 5 only delivers enough to not be disappointing. If you'd ask me, I would still recommend you to play Rune Factory 5 Special just in case you do like what you see here.
We each have a lifespan of 10 years. We call them terms. Life begins with our first term and ends at the close of our 10th.
Xenoblade Chronicles, on the other hand, has just automatically one of those franchises, let's say just as good as God of War, that just doesn't matter what it delivers, it's amazing. Specifically though, what it always has to offer as an RPG. It does deliver a story, gameplay mechanics, details, and once again, a great story. See, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is, to this day, one of the top 5 Switch exclusive out of any list, not just RPGs. It has improved upon the original formula with much more detail and environments, character lore, and just about the most engaging story on the whole platform.
The enemy is before you. Chase them to the ends of the world.
Unchecked, Ouroboros will lead this world to ruin. You must be erased.
These soldiers will nourish me, and we can always grow plenty more.
Stop toying with everyone's lives!
You gave us a choice. The choice not to fight. And you made it true.
That mark there. Late 10th term, eh? 3 months left. That about right?
3 more months, and then I'll be gone from this world.
Generally speaking, one of Square Enix's fails of the past few years, but still a damn fine Souls-like action RPG that you must try if the idea of a Final Fantasy but mainly hack and slasher turns you on over here. See, Babylon's Fall kinda lost its popularity quite fast, mainly because it was a much awaited game, and once it delivered, it did not quite catch up as opposed to its competitors. But if you do like what you see here in the trailer, honestly, it is exactly that. If not, it even delivers more.
This is your time.
The peace we fight for is one in which the Wallister can live as men.
At number 12, probably the loveliest RPG classic of the year, we've got over here Tactics Saga Reborn, Square Enix itself's best Final Fantasy inspired spiritual successor, a game that's just fine-tuned and optimized both in gameplay and story. Not to mention all the cute animation and characters. It's everything you'd expect from Square Enix's old RPGs with modernized and overhauled gameplay elements. I would say there's absolutely no reason you would not give this one a try, if you haven't already.
Not yet. Our battle is far from over. We should hurry. Ready the troops. Onward! We take back Almorica!
We only know that you face a formidable foe. We've not heard from one of our companies stationed in Ashton for some time. We believe them responsible.
Why unleash your creations on innocents? This is massacre!
But you're a fool to advance on our front gates.
I did not take you for a thief. Come to stab us in the back.
Man is not so slothful a creature as that. They merely lack our strength.
Even as I ask why we must fight, I accept the inevitability of the coming battle. Let's see whether your false piety can prevail.
I thought your breed of fool long gone from the world.
Your goal is to research the Pokémon of this region. As a member of the Galaxy Expedition team, an organization dedicated to studying this land, you will strive to complete the first Pokédex in the region.
And last but not least, earlier January this year, actually the first game that was released that's in the list, we've got over here Pokemon Legends Arceus, a prequel entry that takes place in a Japanese-inspired colonization period or something, with a semi-open world and heavy RPG elements. It's a totally different setting as opposed to earlier games with stealth, exploration, and just so many different elements and a new direction for the franchise itself. The game is quite challenging and very addicting once you get the hang of it.
Command your Pokémon to weaken the opponent, and it should be easier to catch. Pokémon behaviors vary in the Hisui region. They may live in groups, or they may flee upon sensing your presence. The aggressive sort will attack without hesitation. Some are much more powerful than you. If danger comes your way, run. It's quite the important research tip. Back at your base camp, you can let your team of Pokémon recover their health. Professor Laventon, a researcher on the Galaxy Expedition team, will provide research support.